Alyssa's POV. I didn't know if it was the sudden change of weather or the stress from the rejection, but I suddenly fell ill. I couldn't eat and would barely sleep. My father insisted the servants brought me medicine and food, but I could barely stomach it. The iron bracelet on my wrist felt cold against my feverish skin. I stared at it with empty eyes, twisting my wrist to see it dance around my skin. After I shifted and Carys almost attacked Caleb, my father locked the bracelet around my wrist, restricting Carys and her abilities just in case. I could barely communicate with Carys, I couldn't grow my wings and I couldn't shift. Only he or someone more powerful could take it off. But it seemed the bracelet was also restricting my wolf's healing abilities. I shouldn't have been this sick. You look like shit. I didn't even notice that Freya had entered my room until she spoke those cruel words. She barely had a foot in my room, like she was disgusted just seeing me. Go away, I mumbled, wanting to bury myself deeper into the blankets. I just want to plan for my new room, she said with a slight shoulder shrug. Father says once you're gone I can have this room. My heart stopped for a moment as I looked at her in confusion. I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. And he is not your father. Freya scoffed and placed her hands on her hips. This hasn't been your home for a long time, sis, she said the word mockingly. Henry is more of a father to me than you anyway. Get over it and accept your new place. You're at the bottom now, there is no way father will take away your bracelet whilst you live with Caleb. I wouldn't be surprised if you murdered him outright like the last one. Anger burned through me, but I knew that she was right. My own father didn't trust me. He didn't love me as much as he loved his new family. Don't pretend that's the truth, Freya. Not when it's just you and me. I don't know what you mean. You know Vivian framed me. You also knew how excited I was to have a little brother. You were part of this all along, weren't you? And now you've taken my mate as well. Freaky growled and stormed further into the room, gripping me by the hair and tilting my head up by the strand so roughly it hurt / I winced, but she only tightened her grip. Get it through your head, bitch, he's not your mate. He's mine. And if you breathe a word against my mother again, I'll make you wish you were left to rot in that prison. As quickly as she had grabbed onto my hair, Freya let go and I almost banged my head against the headboard. She gave me a ruthless smile. Best get packing, sis. Before storming out and slamming my door shut. I wanted to keep resting, but I couldn't get Frey's thoughts from my mind, so I got out of my bed, wrapped my dressing gown tightly around me and went to my father's office, knocking gently. I got up from the bed and knocked on the door of my father's study. Come in, he said, not even looking up from his documents. Where am I going, father? I hoped he would deny it, promise me that I'd be staying with him and no one would take me away from him ever again. But that wasn't the case. He finally looked at me. Who told you? So it's true, I asked, my voice cracking, tears stinging my eyes. You're sending me away again? He sighed. I'm not sending you away, Alyssa. I've arranged a marriage between you and Vivian's nephew, Taylor. Your marriage will bring our packs closer than ever since he's the heir to the Firebone pack. After my brutal rejection, I had expected my father to be more understanding. He'd lost his fated mate too. He knew the depths of that bond. You want to marry me off just like that? After what happened? I know how deeply a broken bond can scar, but choosing a new mate to love and cherish can help you heal. He was so blinded by his new love he'd practically forgotten my mother. He'd married an evil woman and had put me at the bottom of his list of priorities. I didn't trust this match, especially if he shared blood with that wicked woman. I will not marry him, I stated firmly, wondering if it even mattered what I thought. Don't be so ungrateful. You're lucky anyone would choose to marry you after what you did, especially an alpha's heir. And there it was, the truth of my father's feelings. He hadn't for one moment thought about whether I might be innocent or not. He hated me even if he tried so hard not to. He hated me. Tears began to well in my eyes and I hurried to wipe them away before he could say anything. My sleeves had begun to slip down my wrists and arms as I did so, and that's when my father finally saw. Where did those scars come from? My father growled, staring at the strips of flesh that were scarred from the sting of whips. I laughed bitterly. Did you think they would give me special treatment just because I'm an alpha's daughter? I was in a prison camp for 5 years, father. What did you think would happen? He turned around, his back now facing towards me as he let out a small growl. You may go, Alyssa. I almost shouted in disappointment and anger. He'd seen the pain I'd been through, looked at the evidence tattooed on my skin, but still wouldn't let me have my wolf to protect me. I suppose I will be a scarred bride on my wedding day then, father. I turned to leave, but my father sucked in a breath and mumbled, I will take the bracelet off on your wedding day. Be prepared to meet your husband today.